The history of cultivated plants traces back to ancient times, but surprisingly, not all crop species have a clearly identified place of origin. As early as 1807, the German naturalist Alexander von Humboldt observed that the origins of many useful plants were unknown. This statement highlights the complexity and gaps in our understanding of how certain plants entered cultivation. However, modern genomic studies and archaeological research have since reinforced the idea that most cultivated plants originated from specific geographic regions, commonly referred to as centers of origin or domestication centers. These regions are recognized not only for their historical cultivation of particular crops, but also for their rich genetic diversity and the presence of wild relatives of domesticated species. A significant contribution to this field was made by the Swiss botanist Alphonse de Candolle in 1883, whose seminal work Origin of Cultivated Plants examined the ancestry, domestication, and spread of 247 cultivated plant species. De Candolle utilized a wide range of sources, including classical botanical texts, records of ancient travelers, Chinese historical writings, archaeological data, and ethnological observations. Through this comprehensive approach, he was able to identify patterns of plant domestication and distribution that continue to inform agricultural studies today. De Candolle categorized economically important plants based on both their geographic origin and their approximate period of cultivation. He grouped them into 6 categories, distinguishing between those of the Old World, making Europe, Asia, and Africa, and the New World, the Americas. In the Old World, plants that had been cultivated for over 4,000 years included almonds, figs, grapes, rice, wheat, and olives. Crops such as oats, radishes, and poppies had been grown for over 2,000 years, while others like coffee and strawberries were introduced into cultivation more recently. Similarly, New World plants such as maize, tobacco, and sweet potatoes had long histories of use, with others, like potatoes, tomatoes, and cotton, cultivated prior to the Columbian Exchange. Still newer crops such as rubber and blueberries were introduced after Columbus's voyages. De Candolle proposed that each crop species likely originated from a specific and limited geographical area, where it was first domesticated from its wild ancestor. For example, he suggested that brassica species, which include cabbage, kale, and broccoli, have wild forms native to Europe and Siberia, and that cultivated varieties arose through a process of gradual modification over time. This view aligns with the idea that early humans selected plants with desirable traits, such as bigger seeds, tastier fruits, or easier harvestability, and continued breeding them, thus shaping the domesticated forms we use today. Further support for this concept came from Charles Darwin in 1868, who noted that cultivated plants are simply modified versions of their wild ancestors. He emphasized the role of artificial selection, the deliberate breeding of plants with preferred traits, in the domestication process. Domestication often begins with hybridization, crossing different plant types, followed by selective breeding over multiple generations. This process results in plants that are more useful to humans, but often less capable of surviving in the wild. The theory of plant domestication was refined further by Nikolai Vavilov in 1926, who built upon de Candolle's ideas and proposed that domestication occurred in a number of distinct global centers. These centers were identified based on the diversity found in modern plant varieties, called germplasm, archaeological remains, and the presence of wild relatives. Vavilov identified regions such as China, Southwest Asia, and tropical America as primary centers where domestication likely took place. Importantly, these regions tend to contain the highest diversity of land races. However, not all crops originated from a single well-defined area. Some, like sorghum, sugarcane, and peanuts, were likely domesticated over broad regions, suggesting a more complex and gradual process of cultivation. Additionally, land races of certain crops have been discovered in parts of the world outside their presumed centers of origin, indicating that human migration and trade played a significant role in spreading and adapting cultivated species to new environments.